Hey kids. So here we are again. This week, Friday is May 1st. So we're actually coming on to the last month of school. So this is crazy. This week, we're going to study incomplete and complete metamorphosis. So I wanted to give you a heads up about what the week looks like here on the Week at a Glance. All of the links will be here that you need for the Week at a Glance. So I will add the quizzes link later, like Thursday morning, for you. And then, so don't worry that one's not completely there yet. And I will also give you the code to enter the quizzes game once you get into the Google Meet on Thursday. All right. So today you're going to watch this complete lesson. Watch all the way to the end, please, so that you can make sure and understand the lesson for this week. Tomorrow you have some videos you can watch of some time-lapse videos of insects going through complete and incomplete metamorphosis. You find them very interesting. On Wednesday, that's when you're going to complete your discussion question, and your response for that discussion question is definitely required. So please make sure that you take that as a top priority. The question on the discussion is going to be to tell me the difference between complete and incomplete metamorphosis. So you want to think about that as you're watching the video today. And since that discussion is already available, if after you finish the video today, it's fresh on your mind and you want to go ahead and answer that discussion question for Wednesday, you can do that. So otherwise on Wednesday, if you feel like you haven't thought about complete versus incomplete metamorphosis for a couple of days, come back and revisit this video so that it can kind of prick your memory, okay? On Thursday, we're going to meet during our Google Meet time and play a live quizzes game. So that'll be fun, so don't miss out on that. On Friday, there's a Quizlet review link for you where you can just review some life science vocab. And there's some fun games on there to play. The matching game and the gravity game are a lot of fun. So you can enjoy that and try to beat your score. All right. Today, we're going to talk about metamorphosis. So we're going to watch this quick video together. I will say he's a little silly, but silly is good. So you can watch this video real quick together about complete versus incomplete metamorphosis.
Speaking scientifically. Welcome to Speaking Scientifically. Today we're going to talk about the difference between a complete metamorphosis and an incomplete metamorphosis. Now this is only when you're talking about...
So he's a little goofy, right?
Some of them go through a big change, some of them go through a little change. The ones who go through a big change, like a butterfly, goes through a complete metamorphosis. It starts off as a little larva, which looks really different from the grown-up form. Then they go to a stage called a pupa. A pupa. I know it's kind of a funny word. And when you're talking about two or more, it's pupae. 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 And then you've got the grown-up form, which has got some wings, and it looks really, really different from the baby form or the larva. Now, we're talking about things like butterflies, of course, and ladybugs and other beetles, ants, wasps, and bees. In an incomplete metamorphosis, you have a baby form called a nymph, or if it lives in the water, a naiad. The baby form looks like a teeny tiny little version of the grown-up form. The only thing that they're really going to do is grow a set of wings. A grasshopper and a cricket and a cockroach and a mantis all go through an incomplete metamorphosis. When a grasshopper is a baby grasshopper, it looks like a baby grasshopper. When it's all grown up, it looks like a grasshopper, but it's got some wings. If you ask me, it's really not much of a metamorphosis, but they didn't ask me. So I hope I helped you speak it scientifically. If you've got more words you want to know, put them in the comment section below, and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Bye.
Okay, so hopefully that was a good little introduction to incomplete versus complete metamorphosis. So complete metamorphosis, we'll start with that. It has 4 stages. So here's one part to your discussion answer on Wednesday. Complete metamorphosis has 4 stages, whereas incomplete metamorphosis only has 3 stages. So that's one of the biggest differences between complete versus incomplete metamorphosis. So in complete metamorphosis, the female insect lays the eggs. The earliest development happens during this stage. The insect forms, grows, and develops everything except the wings. And the period spent as eggs changes greatly depending on the type of insect. So some insects stay as eggs for a long time, and some insects stay as eggs for a very short time. Stage 2 is when that egg opens and out comes a larvae, which is similar to a caterpillar or worm-like kind of creature. And during this stage, the insect eats and eats and eats and eats. That's all they do is eat. They're trying to harbor and gain as much energy as possible so that they can survive that cocoon stage that's coming up next. So do you remember that story when you were little, the very hungry caterpillar? The caterpillar ate everything. That's why. So caterpillars do eat everything because they are trying very hard to have enough energy to survive that cocoon stage. So stage 3 is the pupa stage. That's the stage when the constant urge to feed stops. They become inactive and they kind of roll up into a chrysalis or a cocoon. During this time, the insect begins to develop from the caterpillar. So they're drastically changing while they're inside there. Step 4 is the end of the pupa stage comes and the insect turns into its adult form. So whether that's a ladybug or a butterfly, but now it's an adult. It has wings, and it takes some time for these animals when they come out of their cocoon to learn to function. Their wings are all crinkled up, and they're just like a newborn baby adult. So they have to learn how to function. But there you go, 4 stages: egg, larva, pupa, adult. Then incomplete metamorphosis only has 3 stages. So the 3 stages, step 1 will be the female insect lays eggs. So it's similar to complete metamorphosis, and that this time there's also eggs. But this time when the eggs hatch, a nymph emerges. So nymph is the 2nd stage. Nymphs are small adult, they look like small adult insects, but they do not have wings yet. Some types of insects will go through several nymph phases before they'll shed their skin multiple times before they become the adult phase. So then step 3 is when they're a full-grown adult insect. So here you can see the egg phase and then the nymph baby grasshopper that has no wings. And then now you see the adult grasshopper that does have wings. So incomplete metamorphosis only has 3 stages, and that young stage that comes straight out of the egg looks the same all throughout adulthood, but it might just be missing its wings. So, but it's not as drastic of a change in metamorphosis as complete metamorphosis, where a caterpillar might go from egg to a caterpillar to a butterfly. It's a very drastic change, and complete versus incomplete is not near as drastic of a change. So what we're going to do now is look at some pictures of animals and insects and how they go through metamorphosis. And then we're going to decide if this is an example of complete or incomplete metamorphosis. Okay? So what about this one? This is a fruit fly life cycle. So here you see the adult fly over here. And this is the egg. So once, oh, I clicked the screen. There you go. It's complete metamorphosis. So the egg, the egg turns into a caterpillar, and you can see this little caterpillar here, or worm-like larvae. And then from the larva, it turns into a pupa or a cocoon type chrysalis, and then it hatches from the cocoon into the full-grown insect with wings. So that's complete metamorphosis. Look at this picture. It's an ant. So I see an egg, I see a larva, a pupa, and then an adult ant. So that is 1, 2, 3, 4 complete stages, which would mean that this is complete metamorphosis. 4 complete stages from which the insect changes from very drastically from a worm-like egg to a worm-like to a chrysalis to an adult. Okay, is this incomplete or complete metamorphosis? Okay. Good. Complete metamorphosis. An egg to a larva to a pupa to a full adult with wings. What about this one? This is head lice. Ew. So here is the egg, and the egg is born, and there's the baby head lice all the way up to the grown-up head lice, and we can tell that there's not a lot of change except for size. So if it stays pretty much the same and there's not 4 drastic stages, then this would be incomplete metamorphosis, because this incomplete metamorphosis means that it only has 3 stages. It has an egg, and then it has this nymph stage where they're smaller, and then they look the same as an adult. All right, incomplete versus complete metamorphosis. So here I have an egg down here at the bottom, then somewhat of a worm-like caterpillar thing, a pupa stage, and then a full adult stage. So the flea life cycle would be complete metamorphosis because it has 4 separate stages. We can see this larva and pupa stage that the incomplete metamorphosis does not have. Okay, here's a cockroach life cycle. So here's an egg, and then it looks like this baby cockroach is very similar to the adult cockroach minus its wings. So that would be an example of incomplete metamorphosis, where it's a baby, nymph, adult. Only 3 stages. Here we see, this is a rhino beetle, egg, and then I see a larva, a pupa, and an adult. So egg, larva, pupa, adult would be 4 stages. That's complete metamorphosis. This is a boll weevil. So here's an egg, larva, pupa, adult. 1, 2, 3, 4 stages. We see a drastic change from the egg to the larva, which is like a worm-like, and then a pupa where it stays in a chrysalis for a while, and then it hatches into the adult boll weevil. So that would be complete metamorphosis. It has 4 full stages. Okay, what about this? This is a praying mantis. So here's the egg, and then look, it's a baby praying mantis, and as it grows, it looks very similar to an adult praying mantis. So we only see 3 stages here: egg, nymph, adult. So that would be incomplete metamorphosis. There's no larva, there's no pupa, it doesn't wrap into a cocoon, it doesn't turn into a worm-like feature, so that would be incomplete metamorphosis. Here's a bee. So we're all familiar with bumblebees, right? Here's the egg, and then it changes into a larva. The larva grows and eats and eats and eats and eats. Then it forms a cocoon-like stage, and then out comes the bee. So that would be 1, 2, 3, 4 complete stages, a very drastic change from the larva stage to the adult stage. So that would be complete metamorphosis. A bee goes through complete metamorphosis. Okay, here is a darkling beetle or a mealworm. Egg, and then these all look very similar, but these are like a larva stage, I think. So these are all larvae. Then we see a pupa here, and then we see this full adult. So that would be complete metamorphosis. So egg, and then this is the larva stage. The larva is getting bigger and bigger and bigger. Remember, during the larva stage, all they do is eat and eat and eat. And then this is the pupa stage where it's in a cocoon. And then lastly, the adult stage. That's complete metamorphosis. Okay, here's a love bug life cycle. So here's an egg, a larva, a pupa, and then an adult. So that's 4 complete stages. So that would be complete metamorphosis as well. Okay, here's a grasshopper. So an egg, and then a baby grasshopper, and look, they look very similar. So we would call this a nymph, and then the adult grasshopper. So 3 stages: egg, nymph, and adult grasshopper with wings. So the only difference is that these nymphs don't have wings. So if it's an egg, a nymph, and then an adult, 3 stages, that would be incomplete metamorphosis. Okay, that's it. So hopefully those were some good examples for you to help you understand complete versus incomplete metamorphosis. So the big difference is that complete has 4 stages: egg, larvae, pupae, adult. And then a incomplete metamorphosis only has 3 stages: egg, and then it's nymph, and then adult. And the nymph and adult, remember, in an incomplete metamorphosis look very similar all throughout those stages, except for the adult gains wings. The complete metamorphosis, the insect is going to go through some drastic changes. An egg to a caterpillar worm-like insect, and then transfer to a cocoon, and then lastly to an adult insect that looks very different from the way it began. All right, so I will see you again next week, and I hope you have a good week this week. Please message me on Canvas with any questions you have. I love hearing from you, and I'm happy to answer those questions, all right? Okay, see you later.